Hello?
Hello? Let's talk for a while.
Who's this?
What's that sound?
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just putting on expired Jessica Simpson lotion from 2008.
Oh? I only do that at the movies.
Who goes to the movies anymore? I am actually getting ready to put on a video myself.
Really? What?
Nosy much? A scary movie.
Do you like scary movies?
Well, that's why I'm watching it.
What's your favorite Fairuza Balk movie, Ryan?
Wait, how do you know my name? Return to Oz.
Oh, well that's easy to say, isn't it? Can you pronounce her name yet?
Listen, I'm working on it. Clearly I can't speak the English language.
What about the Craft Legacy?
What about it?
Well, you didn't seem to enjoy the sequel too much, and she ended up at the end. Why haven't you did one of her films yet?
That's just because I'm learning to say her name right before we tackle any films on the Radical Retro Rewind podcast.
The Craft, Worst Witch, Waterboy, There's No Fish Food in Heaven.
I've never even heard of that movie.
Did you get my letter?
That was you a few weeks ago? The note? You know what I did last summer?
Uh-huh. Want to know if you live to see another? Make sure she's on the list soon.
Oh boy, and how am I gonna have time to do this now? I gotta watch Scream. So welcome to this week's Radical Retro Rewind podcast. I am your host, Ryan Hunter, and I have a very special retro for me guest all the way from MySpace days, my friend Jon. MySpace.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
Do you hear crickets? Do people know what MySpace is anymore?
God, I hope they forgot about it. I hope those that were on it remember, but those that don't know it. Because it was a thing. I mean, it was cool before Facebook and all that.
And we got to choose our songs. You remember that was like a huge thing? You had to get the right song.
And who the top 8 were. Who were your best friends that day.
Yeah, you could really make or break a friendship with that top 8. That's why it's dangerous. Leave Tom in the number 1 spot.
Oh yeah, you always left Tom up there. I don't know why, but you did.
I feel like you were in my top 8.
I probably had you at my top 8 at some point as well.
So I should mention, actually, what brings Jon here. Jon is a podcaster.
Woo.
Not only does he have one show, he has 2.
I do.
Your 2 podcasts are Movie Deja Vu and Life is But a Song. Please tell us a little bit about them, Jon.
So, Movie Deja Vu, it's myself and my co-host, Shady. We compare similar movies by creating a verbal Venn diagram. And then, throughout the episode, we like to throw in some facts that we call special features. Yeah, we do it very much like movies and things like that. So we're big nerds about movies, and then we like to challenge ourselves to see if the movies are the same or if they are not. And there are some episodes where like it's not 100% the same, but we give them like a soft yes, And then my other one, Life's But a Song, is just me with a revolving door of guests. You are in a future episode, I should say. I should plug that right now.
Yay! I'm future people.
Where I bring in, actors, fellow podcasters, anyone that, friends that I have, that just have a musical movie, TV episode, or musical series that they want to talk about, and we just chat about it for like an hour. And it's pretty interesting because the wide variety of topics that we get and subgenres besides musicals is a lot. The gamut. We've got big name ones like Cats and Funny Girl, to ones that I've never heard of, which is further down the pipeline, called The Slipper and the Rose. because I've never heard of that movie.
I like that title, though.
Yeah, it's a Cinderella-like story, so it's a story of Cinderella, I should say. It's pretty fascinating to, you know, watch these, and then I have my guests pick, and people can guess which one you picked. Don't say it. We'll have them guess it. And it's just, you know, fun, and it's great to have a conversation with a person I haven't talked to in, like, forever.
That's one of the things I feel like really that a joy of podcasting, getting to talk to people. It's an old-fashioned conversation. Yes, we're doing it over the internet a lot of times.
Right.
Speaking of retro treats, one of Jon's earlier episodes was the Gem and the Holograms movie versus Josie and the Pussycats.
Which, by the way, doing that episode too, it was such a treat because I forgot how much I loved the Josie and the Pussycats movie.
It's really a good movie.
It's a banger. But yeah, that's the thing too with both of these podcasts. I get to revisit these movies that I haven't seen in a while. Some of them don't age well, and some of them didn't age well even at the time.
Yes.
And then some of them hold up, like that one, like Josie.
And that does not get a lot of credit at all. You never hear anyone speaking of Josie and the Pussycats, the movie. Or the cartoon.
No, and then Shady and I tried to fix the Gem and the Holograms movie as best as we could. I feel like I heard your episode, you tried to fix it too. I wasn't the Gem fan, my sister was. I only knew about Gem because of her. And then I actually saw that movie in theaters. And
I think you were were you one of the 5 that actually did see it?
Yes, I was. I was one of the 5.
He had to have been, because it was the quickest.
It was in there for 2 weeks, yeah. Yeah, I saw it, and while I was watching it, I was just like, why did we do it this way? Why didn't you, do this as like 10 minutes of the movie, and then the rest of it can be Kesha?
Kesha would have saved that movie, that whole last scene brought up. So even someone like you, who might not be a huge Gem fan, could have even seen on the surface what should have happened. It's crazy how these titles get out and they make what they make.
there's a few fun facts about that one that I mention in our special features portion of the show that I don't want to say now because I want people to listen to it.
I know that people enjoyed the Gem episode on the Retro podcast. If you want another take on this amazing movie...
and guys, please don't judge me too hard. We were still figuring out what podcasting was at that time. It was episode 2. So,
oh my god, our episode 2 was Gem as well. Wow.
Yeah, so if you guys don't judge me, I know I sound differently. We were figuring things out. But I actually have retro news. I don't know if you want to...
Please cue that retro news music that I haven't gotten to use in months.
For those of you who don't know, they are rebooting the Scream franchise, where they brought back the original trio. I mean, we're talking about Scream, so may as well talk about Scream 5, but really, I'm on IMDb right now, and it's just called Scream. So...
they're doing that, like Halloween.
Yeah. So they brought back Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, and David Arquette, as well as Marley Shelton from Scream 4. So... have you seen the commercial for the new Punky Brewster?
Thank you for mentioning this. Yes, I have. And holy shit.
I didn't watch Punky Brewster, but I was just like, why? Why? I mean, I feel like Peacock is going through all of their old shows, and they're like, let's reboot it.
Charmed, but better.
Well, I mean, they've done that one already. So, like, Saved by the Bell, now Punky Brewster. I wonder what's next,
Clarissa explains it all to her grandchildren.
God. That'll be interesting.
You know when you're getting older because our shows when we were a kid are getting the reboot / continuation, and it's scary. So, okay, this is Scream. This is 1996. This movie is known for reviving the dying horror franchises, supposedly, Do you think, though, that horror was dying in the 90s?
Yeah. Sometimes, I watch other movies besides what I'm supposed to for my podcasts. And watching horror movies from the 90s, that's when they got into more of the religious kinds. Flatliners is the one that's coming to mind right now. And there's a few others that I can't think of, but I just know that they veer off onto like Christianity as the basis.
Right, a lot of it was ghosts. It was like the others, supernatural more in that sense, I feel like, right? Like a more like a veil between the living and the dead and demons or something.
I want to say 93 was Jason Goes to Hell, like 94 was Wes Craven's New Nightmare, so you still had the slasher franchise.
God.
They weren't as big as they were in the 80s, because in the 80s that's all they had. So then with Scream, I feel like they not revived the horror genre, I feel like they revived the slasher genre.
I think you're right. That's a better term for them to describe that as, the slasher genre.
So in Wes Craven's New Nightmare, he created a newer term, which was the meta horror movie. And then in Scream, they solidified it by making it a parody while making it a horror movie, which is awesome, because now you have like Cabin in the Woods and The Final Girls and all these other movies that have come out in the last 10, 20 years that are, also making fun of the horror/slasher genres. And so that's all thanks to Scream. And Kevin Williamson, of all people, who was inspired by a Friday the 13th movie to write this, by the way.
You could totally tell that he loves these types of movies. Like his homage, especially even with Halloween, when he plays Halloween later on in the movie.
Yeah.
And you hear the music from Halloween.
I think that's also just part of the meta-ness of it, because it's the actor Jamie Kennedy talking to the actress Jamie Lee Curtis, saying, "Watch out behind you, Jamie, watch out." And behind him is the Ghostface killer.
I love that scene. Especially because it's Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah.
Yes. So meta.
Drew Barrymore was actually offered the role of Sidney Prescott. She was just like, I think I want to play this Casey character. And so they have her play that, which is fascinating, because then you have them also paying homage to Psycho.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm gonna say Janet Leigh, right?
Janet
the star.
Psycho, yeah.
She dies in the early, and she's on the poster, just like Janet Leigh in Psycho, as the main star.
And if you look at the original posters for Scream, Drew Barrymore is like up front, biggest person and everything, and Neve Campbell is like all the way in the back. David Arquette, he was cast going against what they originally wanted. They originally wanted the suave man to play Dewey, and then they made him a goofball, and it was great.
Were you shocked? Because I know I was going to see this for the first time. We're going into this, like John said, the poster is Drew Barrymore, the original posters. When she gets killed, were you shocked, or did you know at that point it's so early? Of course, something.
Okay, so I've seen this movie made conservatively 3,000 times.
Oh, so yeah. Grease too.
So
for me.
I don't remember the first time. I could tell you though, I was 8 when it first came out, so I was not seeing it in theaters. I think I had to wait a couple of years, and I remember going to Blockbuster with my family to rent it numerous times, and I believe even my sister introduced it to me. So thank you, sister. You know what you're in for, though. Like, we're going to see a horror movie, so obviously people are gonna die. I didn't expect it to be, I guess, a game.
Come on, it'll be fun.
Please.
It's an easy category.
Please.
Movie trivia. Or even give you a warm-up question.
Don't do this, I can't.
Name the killer in Halloween.
No.
Come on, it's your favorite scary movie, remember? He had a white mask, he stalked the babysitters.
No.
Come on, yes you do.
Please.
What's his name?
I can't.
Steve's counting on you.
Michael Myers.
Yes! Very good. Now for the real question.
No!
But you're doing so well. We can't stop now.
Stop, leave us alone.
Then answer the question. Same category.
Oh, please stop.
Name the killer in Friday the 13th.
Jason! Jason!
I'm sorry. not? No way.
Listen, it was Jason. I saw that movie 20 goddamn times!
Then you should know Jason's mother, Mrs. Voorhees, was the original killer. Jason didn't show up until the sequel. I'm afraid that was a wrong answer.
Yeah, and she died not knowing Pamela Voorhees is the original Friday the 13th killer.
But that is a trick question because he was asking him about franchises. But it's a trick, but not a trick.
Yeah, that's when you have to be like, clarification, please. You've got Sidney Prescott. Her mom died brutally, and she blames Cotton Weary, played by Liev Schreiber, who... I've got you on names, by the way. I know you can't say Fairuza Ball, so I've got you. I also had your one per, so you don't have to say her name ever again this episode.
The service, see? The service he's doing. I mean, this movie is completely filled with Hollywood people. Yeah. We get cameos, split-second cameos with Linda Blair, Wes Craven.
Yeah, so Linda Blair plays a fellow reporter. Wes Craven plays a janitor wearing a Freddy Krueger sweater.
All hunched over, he looks perfect as this janitor.
And then Henry Winkler, most notably, plays the principal. And they actually added his death in because there was a long time in the movie where there was no death, no body count. The body count was stagnant. So they added him in. There wasn't a reasoning. There are fan theories and potential truth behind them as to why the people were murdered. Casey, Drew Barrymore, her character apparently dated Matthew Lillard's character and broke up with him to start going after Steve Orth. But then, they kill famously Tatum, played by Rose McGowan.
And what movie is this from? I spit on your garage. Lose the outfit. If Sydney sees it, she'll flip. Oh, you want to play psycho killer? Can I be the helpless victim? Okay, let's see. No, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel.
In the doggy door, where I think they had to give her a breastplate to make it so that she couldn't fit in there. Boobs were pretty prominent throughout the movie, but in that one they make it jumbo sized.
Yeah, that sweater, I'm picturing her with her yellow sweater right now with her giant breasts.
Yeah, and she's kicking. I feel like she potentially could have gotten out.
Every time I see it, I'm like, come on, just squeeze a little harder.
Move a hand to move your it's all fat and flesh. You could move it around.
Especially if you're about to die and you're that adrenaline. Ooh. I do want to add that Rose, being a huge original Charmed fan, her character Tatum drives a red Volkswagen Bug. In Charmed, her character Paige drives a green one.
Oh.
I don't know if that's a little homage, because they're also, at one point, they pass Prescott Street, which is where the Charmed witches also live. And then what does she say later about a beer fairy? Oh, no, a beer witch.
Beer wench.
So wench. Okay, not witch. Okay, because I'm look at the connection.
Then you have Skeet Ulrich and Neve Campbell reuniting from The Craft in this movie.
Who I call... Do you want to know what I call this actor?
Skeet Ulrich? I don't know which one's his last name. What do you call him?
For years. Street urchin. I mean, I know that's not
Ryan.
His name, but when I say him and Neve Campbell, I'll say street urchin.
Ryan.
Yeah, that one is not insane.
No. I mean, I can understand the one that I did already. Because she's got, random letters here and there, and then Balk is a weird last name, but Ryan, it's clearly a K.
Yeah. I don't know.
Clearly a Skeet. And then you have, rounding out the cast, Roger Jackson as the voice. Roger Jackson's performance, though, when you rewatch it, do you feel like he's playing each person differently?
Ooh!
Do you hear him doing a Stu voice versus a Billy voice?
That is really interesting. I would say the only one I noticed, and actually, when I rewatched them again, I'm going to look for that now, but the only one I know at the end is when Sydney's doing it. It's going in and out of her voice. That's the only time I noticed.
They show you the cartridge or whatever it was that you can change your voice, which I always... I want the one from Scream 3, personally.
Yes, that is... Yes.
And then you have the one in Scream 4, which is a nap.
Which is, it's funny.
I
It's
wonder what
smart.
they're going to do for 5, like how they're going to do it. With this movie, I feel like there are certain points where you can hear Roger Jackson doing, like, playing with his voice. I mean, famously, he never met the cast. They kept him separate, so this way, when he was on the line with them, obviously they could build tension and all that. And then I know he did an interview once where he was talking about how in Scream 2, like, in between rolling, you know, when they're rolling on set,
Yeah.
Sarah Michelle Gellar was just so perky and was like, how's it going? What's going on? Specifically, when Billy gets arrested for having a cell phone, which, by the way...
Oh my god, isn't that funny, that line now in 2021? What are you doing with a cell
Cellular
phone?
telephone, friend, that's what it's called. But that was important, because I feel like Scream also brought us to technology with the horror franchise. They brought us to another level where you have the cell phone, and then you have Neve Campbell reach the cops via a website?
Oh my god. And it happened so fast. I swear I looked at that scene and I was like, okay, this is dial-up. Would that have gone through that quickly even at that point? It was like this. It was like instant, like an instant
I have no
message.
idea what was going on. I actually sometimes get confused with Scary Movie, the parody one from the Wayans brothers, where they message, the message on there is white woman in trouble and the cops show up. Obviously, that's not what she says in Scream.
Wasn't it, though? Wasn't it?
Teenager in trouble, help! This movie has one of my favorite lines, because it's when Neve Campbell's on the phone with the Ghostface killer voice, and she thinks it's Randy, and she's dissecting horror movies with the voice and everything, and she's like, they're all the same. You have big-breasted women who can act running up the stairs instead of out the front door. And then she does exactly that.
Randy, you gave yourself away. Are you calling from work? Because Tatum's on her way over.
Do you like scary movies, Sydney?
I like that thing you're doing with your voice, Randy. It's sexy.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, come on. You know I don't watch that shit.
Why not? Too scared?
No, it's just, what's the point? They're all the same. Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act, who's always running up the stairs when she should be going out the front door. It's insulting.
Are you alone in the house?
Randy, that's so unoriginal. I'm disappointed in you.
Maybe that's because I'm not Randy.
Because having just rewatched I Know What You Did Last Summer, I love the little spots that, like, Sydney, and in that case it was Julie, Jennifer Love, they find, like, the smallest spots to crawl through, get out of. I want to be a final girl. I want to find these spots. Her door, like, earlier when she knew that her door sticks, and she uses that as, like, a way to, like, kind of stop him for a second.
And then at Stu's house, when she jumps off the attic and lands on the boat and is okay. Yeah, that one hurts. But to be a final girl, this movie also broke what that means. Because...
With the whole sex, right?
Yeah. I mean, even back to Friday the 13th, the first one, the final girl of that, I mean, she's drinking and smoking weed, and she talks about having an affair with an older man, so...
I would be flaunting it too.
Well, it's with the camp director, yeah.
Yeah.
They have an affair,
yes.
Obviously the rule was meant to be broken, and always has been broken, but it's interesting that I feel like this movie was the one that were just like, hey, remember all those rules from the 80s? Yeah, we're going to break them, and we're going to present you with those rules as well, but then also maybe add new ones.
Well, yeah, and then the 90s definitely called for it, especially the late 90s like this. We were in a new generation. We had no idea what was in store for us.
I know we're talking about Scream, but I would like to theorize about Scream 5, if you don't mind. I wonder what the rules are going to be and how they're going to be presented.
I feel like they're going to mention that too somehow. They're gonna totally play into the fact that this is a sequel reboot or a reboot again, because they're so tongue-in-cheek. I would be disappointed if they did come up with some kind of fun tongue-in-cheek way to play that.
Scream, I wonder what the story is going to be, because obviously she's still famous. She's still alive in this world. And the interesting thing about Sidney Prescott is that in all the movies, though she's famous, she never wanted to be a final girl. Like, she never asked for any of this. And she's, besides Jamie Lee Curtis's character in Halloween, she's the only final girl that's, like, lasted for so long.
I'm worried that the more these characters come on, yes, we heard that they all three, the main stars, signed on, but the more and more that these characters come back, it's one movie closer to how are we going to believe that they survived 5 movies?
I mean...
and I don't want them to die. That's the other thing. I don't want them to die.
Dewey was supposed to die in the first movie, but because after test screenings, they kept him because the audiences loved him. And then now with their relationship, both on and off screen, being as tumultuous as it is, who knows what's going to happen between him and Courtney Cox, Gail Weathers. I feel like with this one of them has to die. And it's unfortunate.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's unfortunate to say that. I just don't know who it's going to be.
Gail, I think. Do you think they would go crazy and like Nev is like, this is the last time I'm doing it, and like kill her? I would hope not.
I don't think so, because then they can do one more and then that'll be the end for her storyline. If Sidney Prescott had a child, that child would be 11 by the time the movie came out, right?
Ooh, yeah.
So, I mean, that's usually a way to like keep things going with horror movies. You know, they focus now on a different person.
We just saw that with Laurie Strode's granddaughter now.
So, unless she had a daughter while she was on the book tour that they forgot to write about.
Ooh. But would you be upset if they just pulled that out of nowhere, like, unless she wanted to keep it hush-hush because of what her history was?
I don't know how I would feel about it. Unless they did it right, or it's an adoptive daughter.
Ooh, you're thinking. You are thinking.
Unless they're going to pass the torch to somebody new and kill Nev Campbell. That better be epic.
Man.
That better be something
And
epic,
then who is this ghost killer going to be? It's always great to find out why they're doing, you know, like, besides a copycat.
They're always related somehow to Sydney.
Would you say that this franchise is one of the best in horror history?
That's a loaded question. I would say it's my favorite franchise.
And that's all that matters, right? I mean, at least.
Black Christmas was the first movie to be a slasher film. Halloween was the first one to make it popular. And then Friday the 13th was the first slasher to show that you can do it on a little to no budget. And then Nightmare on Elm Street was the one that built a production company, basically. Gave the slasher subgenre a way to, like, experiment, because now you're killing people in dreams. So, like, obviously it's full-blown fantasy.
Yes! And then Jason came back from the dead a million times. He went to space.
Right, and then same with Michael Myers and blah, 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 blah. Like, Michael Myers came back before Jason was even a thing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, at the end of Halloween, he gets the hanger in his eye and then pushed out of a window and then disappears.
Yeah, with that amazing sound effects, the score of Halloween.
And is still alive to this day.
Yes, he is!
But then with Scream, created a new language for the slasher subgenre. It shows you that you don't have to use one person. You can use one costume. That's at every 5 and dime. Thanks.
Right. Yep. Good callback.
I feel like it's up there. I don't know which one is like the greatest, because each of them have their own thing, and each of them have their hits and each have their misses. So it's like, can't really like pick the best one.
But you would say at least that this franchise is one of your...
I love Scream, yes. Scream was the one that I would rent multiple times from Blockbuster. See, and I'm calling back for
Oh,
more
yes, episode. No idea.
Episode
7,
something.
8, 9.
I was upset while listening to it because when I was a kid, I wanted to work at Blockbuster and they never hired me. So I got that. You just like opened up a wound that was so
But
old.
look at this, we're both wearing blue. So we are Blockbuster now. Because look, they're not around.
I've also got a ton of DVDs that I don't really watch anymore because of streaming services. Hilarious.
So there we go. We got your own Blockbuster chain at your house.
And your Blockbuster episode was episode 9, by the way.
Thank you for looking. Episode 9. Did you hear that, everybody? Episode 9.
Speaking of which, I'm surprised you guys didn't mention the printers that were there for like Pokemon Snap and all those other games. They were there. You would go with your little cartridge and print it out.
And you would see a black,
those were the days.
Supposedly a picture on that paper.
They printed it out.
They looked I remember looking terrible for some reason.
Oh, of course, yeah, because it's all pixelated.
But for us, it was gold. Thank you, Jon, so much. How can the people find you?
So, my podcasts are available everywhere, I think. Movie Deja Vu is available everywhere. As of this recording, I have not released Life's But a Song, so I'll figure that one out. But I'm on... Oh god, there's so many socials that I can do. You know what? I'll just do Instagram for everything. My personal Instagram is @TheKnitPire, because I also knit.
Yes, he does! For years!
For Movie Deja Vu, we're at Movie Deja Vu Pod on Instagram. And then for Life's But a Song, I'm on Instagram at But a Song Pod. Look out for us.
And you can reach the Radical Retro Rewind podcast on Instagram, Radical Retro Podcast, all one word. Thank you again, Jon.